Extreme Anime Radio.
We are here finally in an explosion of emoji as usual. It is season 12 of the Extreme Anime Radio Podcast, or the XAR Podcast, as you can see the new logo up on the top of the screen. I am JR on this, the 24th of September, 2025. I've made it back home in one piece from another trip, and safely on the other side of the border is my podcast co-host, Mr. Neff Canuck. Hello, sir, and welcome to a new season.
Good evening, and do we call this the Dirty Dozen and get it over with now?
Well, this spring will be the Baker's Dozen if we go on with it, right?
Yeah, that's true enough.
So, yes, another season of chatting about anime and anything else that comes to mind here on XAR on Twitch or Spotify, YouTube, or wherever you watch and listen to us. Remember, you can go to linktree.com/anime radio. You'll see all the links there. We'll also have the links on the screen at the conclusion of the show, and Neff will, in his eloquent way, recite the entire list as he always does. And we will also have a very special announcement towards the end of the show as well, which I think you're going to be very excited about. Yes, Neff thinks that, well, I kind of like the text. Neff's thinking, what, the American Bandstand is back with this something?
Well, I as I said, it's like, wait a minute, the 70s are back. Not that that's a bad thing per se, you know. I mean, some things were better in the 70s. My hairline, for one. But, you know, let's not go there. No, I mean, it's new, it's fresh, and I'm going, familiar.
Yes. And if you see, well, you saw it in the open, and also up on the screen right now. If you're watching us on video, we have brand new art content, if you will, logos that we'll be using at least for the podcast, but eventually we'll put it into the streams as well. Of Sarah and Yumemi, drawn by Brenny, somebody we've worked with for. Seems to be a very long time, but I think it's like 5 years or so that we've worked with her. She does amazing artwork. She has a tremendous following on social media. She also does videos. We might be putting together some sort of video soon, but we'll see. Yes.
I am intrigued.
We have sent an RFP, if you will. So
don't do that. You make me think of work, boss.
Yeah, no
Bad
worries.
Bad plan.
Okay, so a new season of the podcast. Who knows who might be watching us? Neff, we may have to watch what we say. Actually, you're probably going to be just fine where you are.
Well, let's just say things are at a point where I'm going, okay, I'll stay this side of the border for a while. Thank you very freaking much.
Yeah. So I'll move on from this topic of conversation to let everybody know that I recently concluded another trip today. It was to Miami because I have not been to see my family, at least my immediate family in Miami, for about 15 years. It's been way, way too long since I was there. And so I went down for 2 nights, and it was a pretty good trip. A couple of pointers I wanted to tell you about, Neff. Last night, I went out with my cousins down in Florida to a sushi restaurant called Sushi Sake. That's sort of a brand in like a chain in Miami. I think they have a few restaurants, but they cater to the local population, which is largely Hispanic and a good number of it Cuban. And yes, one of the rolls that I tried is sort of like a mishmash between Japanese cuisine and Cuban cuisine. It is a roll called the Calle Ocho roll. Calle Ocho is the Cuban place to hang out in Miami. If you want to get something authentically Cuban, you go to Calle Ocho, or if it's too crowded, you go around town, you find one of these Cuban bakeries to go to. Tremendous. But anyway, yes, the Calle Ocho roll is a sushi roll that has cooked ham croquettes, which is a Cuban cuisine staple. It's topped with plátano maduros, which is a cooked fried plantain on the top of the roll. And then the garnish is like fried French fries on the top, little bits of French fries. And I was in heaven when I had it, believe it or not. Would that be something you would want to try, Neff?
I'd want to try it, but I'd be afraid, like, major heartburn on the way down, or, it's like, wait a minute, my stomach going, that's not a combination I'm expecting right now.
Well, we talk about Japanese cuisine, and that's an interesting piece of Japanese fusion that I had there last night. And then there was the flight home today. And I don't know if you heard or read the headlines today, but yes, both United Airlines and the airline I flew, American, had major computer-related issues today. And so that resulted in me getting onto the plane and us sitting at the gate 90 minutes past our due time for departure, while we're waiting for maintenance to bring pieces of paper for the to sign off the plane before we could take off.
Okay, that's not reassuring, let me tell you.
Mm-mm.
And that's so old school. Pieces of paper.
Yep.
I'm floored. Why wouldn't they have just, somebody must have a cell phone on that plane. I'm sure the captain has a cell phone. Send him the document. Have him electronically sign it. And away you go.
Nah, exactly. You think they'd be that sophisticated. But no, the United Airlines issue, I don't know what that was this morning, but that resulted in a ground stop. We were held 90 minutes. I know a number of other American Airlines flights across the country were canceled. We were delayed 90 minutes. People sort of stretching out, standing, relaxing, using the bathroom. And then we had an update from the captain say, okay, we have the paperwork signed. And then he said something. I don't know if he actually meant it, if it was a fib, but he said that everybody had to get back into their seats because we had to take off for New York in 20 minutes. If we weren't off the ground in 20 minutes, then he was going to time out, and American Airlines would then have to find a new captain.
No, that is actually true, because flight crews do have schedules and do have a allotted number of hours they can fly before they must rest. Right. So the captain may have been in a situation where it's like, uh-oh.
Now I noticed it's like either 8 hours or 10 hours, I think, but still, I knowing that, I still don't know whether or not he was telling the truth or not. You just want to get everybody in their seats and get them on their way, because there was weather supposed to be coming into Miami this afternoon. I don't know what happened to that. And there was going to be some bad weather that was going to interfere with our route back to New York. So I think those things might have gotten into play. But We pushed back. They started the engines right away, and I think it's the fastest I've ever gotten to a runway. Like 4 minutes, just stop short, and then away we go. They weren't wasting any time, and I thought they went through all of their checklists, right?
and you'd know those checklists because the simming that you do, flight simming, and it's like, did they miss something? I hope not.
And I'm stuck on a pretty old 737. I showed Neff that they had like a special old livery on the plane, Air Cal. I think you remember Air Cal, Neff. Was a West Coast airline.
Yeah, we would have seen photos of that because I don't think they would have come into Canada at all.
No, I don't think so.
Strictly a U.S. airline.
Right. So we did that, but I'm at my seat. There's no seat back entertainment on those planes. I don't think American Airlines does it much on their short haul flights. More on their long haul flights, they'll have it. But I had you were able to hook up your phone, or if I wasn't lazy, I'd take out my iPad. But I hook up the phone. But there is your single source of power is a single USB-A. And I'm like, I'm lucky I had one short USB-A cable because now everything I have is pretty much USB-C.
Well, I'm actually one of those people who packs one of those multi-headed Hydra cables just because you never know. You might end up in a situation where it's like, my phone is USB-C, but all I have is USB-A to plug into for power.
Yeah. But so I made it back in one piece, and now I'm back for a little while longer, and then the next trip happens. So I'm still rolling along on these trips, trying to use up as much vacation time as I possibly can. I know you've been a little bit on vacation yourself, Nev. How are you doing?
Well, my vacation was more of a staycation because I had to, first of all, repair the pony in the first week due to my own stupidity. But it was an expensive lesson. If somebody parks badly beside you, don't try to squeeze out the other side because the only person that's going to hurt is you.
Yeah.
$3,000 later, including $800 for one plastic piece that was scratched and couldn't be fixed. So yeah.
Oh, great.
The rest of it, I spent doing things around the house, going places that I would normally not try to go after work because, I like my sanity in my life too much. Something like Costco, for example. And even then, I went, it was noon on a Monday, and I figured, no, it'll be dead.
Right.
It was a zoo. It's like cruise around the parking lot. Oh, there's an accessible parking spot. And fly in there before anybody else gets any ideas. Yeah, and then I hit a European delicatessen / supermarket. The location I normally go to has now permanently closed because apparently they're knocking down the building for condos. So I ended up going to one a bit further out. A nicer location, bigger, yes. Parking was a bit of a bear, but then I realized there are chargers there. So why not charge while I'm inside?
Yeah.
Then I looked at the prices. I'm like, well, it's either that or I have to walk with it all. I'll pay it. 65 cents Canadian per kilowatt hour. Per kilowatt.
Which is high.
Very high. Considering the new charger I go to, which is actually less than a kilometer away from my house, is about 17 cents per kilowatt hour.
Jeez.
and is faster than this charger was, because the charger I go to now can do a maximum of 350 kilowatts. Now my car can only do 150, but that means that I can go from 20 to 80 in under 30 minutes. Which is, nice and convenient. Watch a couple of YouTube videos and away I go.
Right. But still, like sounds like highway robbery. Sounds like what the rental car places would charge.
Well, the Tesla superchargers have reevaluated their pricing locally.
Mm-hmm.
And the peak for non-Tesla members is now 79 cents per kilowatt hour before taxes.
Wow.
So it works out to about 85, 86 cents. So it's like, if you need to use those, buy the membership unless you have money to burn.
My goodness. Yikes. Well, let me look at see what we have going on in the world of Japanese culture today. We have an announcement from Nintendo at the Tokyo Game Show. Nintendo's been on my mind because that was the free movie I watched on my plane today. Super Mario Brothers movie. Again.
I was going, wait a minute. Okay, there we go.
Yeah. But yes, the Tokyo Game Show is going on. And Capcom is announcing an update for our favorite series, Phoenix Wright Ace Attorney. But not a significant update, though. A lot of people still it's been a long time since they actually released a game in the series in Japan, not counting the re-releases of the games globally on Steam and whatnot. They're going to do an update to the original game, and it's going to more or less, if I understand it correctly, it's going to add some functions that you would see in the newer re-releases. So there's going to be an art gallery mode, so you can see artwork from the original series. Now, these are not the sequels. I'm talking about the original Phoenix Wright, where the first case is with the statue of the thing Kerthunk, right?
I love how you describe that statue of the case with Kerthunk. Okay, there we go.
So there's a music player with a jukebox. You can play music from the series, which I think is going to be pretty cool. There is let's see, you can select your own episode, so you don't have to go through a whole series. You can select the episode you want to play. There is also going to be a function where I think you can put your favorite characters in front of different scenes. There is going to be support for Latin American Spanish and Brazilian Portuguese. And then my favorite, or as one report put it, you can let the court figure out the cases. You know what that means, Neff?
I'm afraid I don't. Tell me before it probably hurts.
Story mode. In other words, you can let the game solve it for yourself, and of course that takes 96% of the fun away, doesn't it?
I was going to say that you're basically just playing a movie, essentially.
Yeah, exactly.
So you're paying to play a movie. Okay, well, you might want to. I don't know.
So it's going to be released November 19th. That is the date that they're going to release the update. And it's going to be on all platforms that have the Phoenix Wright Ace Attorney trilogy, including Steam, Xbox, PlayStation, and Nintendo Switch 1. So maybe when that comes along, well, by that time, maybe we would have finished a few more chapters of some game that we're doing. Once again, we'll probably wait a few more weeks to get all my trips out of the way before we resume something like Ace Attorney or something like Tyrion Cuthbert. We only have one chapter left in Tyrion Cuthbert, and I'm morbidly curious to see how that goes.
Yeah, that series seems to be taking a slightly darker path than I originally thought, and I'm going,
Looking to see how that turns out when we get to it. So, as per usual, we'll keep you posted on our social media and especially our Discord, so you know when we're going to tackle that next. Speaking of next, looking ahead in the calendar, Neff, it seems that Ranma 1/2 is going to launch their new season soon. Will you be watching? The remake, that is.
You know what? It's on my pile. And it's like, okay, every time I think, okay, my pile is going down. Some shows are now ending or have ended. One of which, Dan just ended its second season. And let me just put it this way. The way they ended the second season, I let out a very, very naughty bit of words. Now, the manga did something in the latest chapter, 2010. 210, where I also let out some naughty words, and I'm going, okay, did the author know that they were going to end the anime that way and just decide, okay, not only are you going to have the anime mad at the anime, you're going to be mad at the manga too? It's like, oh, come on. No, don't do.
And then I guess the other big news anime related is the fact that Demon Slayer Infinity Castle is slaying it, no pun intended, at the box office. Now it's in the news again. It broke another record. It topped the domestic box office for the second weekend. It's the most popular movie in the country right now. And yes, it keeps breaking box office records left and right.
Now, I think that's a function of two things. One, that it is a popular series, etc. And two, when I see what's coming out domestically, I'm going, no, there's no entertainment value in this. What are you doing?
Right.
So, I mean, they have a pretty open field is my point, but all the better to them because they are making the money. They are proving that, yes, an animated feature can make money and continue to make money in the movie theater as opposed to, one and done and being sent direct to video. In fact, there's people asking, when will the movie hit Crunchyroll? And I'm going to myself, if you're lucky, I'd say end of 26 at best. Because they're just going to keep cranking it into the movie theaters and leave it there as long as it's making them coin like this.
Speaking of Crunchyroll, I just pulled up an article on the Hollywood Reporter, so it gives into more specifics. So in its first 2 weekends, the movie made $104 million in the U.S., which is the most for a Japanese title in the U.S. And globally, it has accumulated over $500 million with a B in revenues.
Wow. And when you think the other biggest movie of the summer would have been what? Superman?
Right.
And I don't think it pulled in $500 million.
And
so that tells you something.
And then there is a quote from the Crunchyroll CEO, and I'd like to get your take on this. Rahul Purini, the CEO of Crunchyroll, which, as we all know, is under the Sony umbrella, has been for the last few years. His quote, "It is now undeniable how big anime has become." So has it become big now, or has it always been big?
I think the difference is it was big in its community. Now it is big generally.
Yeah.
It is sort of like, and I'll reference something, wrestling, for example, pro wrestling.
Right.
Originally, it was very much a carny act, etc. And then in the 80s, we had Hulk Hogan,
right,
the WWF, and it became the global powerhouse that now WWE has become. So.
Yeah, still reading through this, and yes, it's maybe the resurrection that the box office needs, because we all know how that has played out since the pandemic.
Well, certainly, I mean, going to the movie theater has been made different by the pandemic, and I think there's still to this day a certain section of the population who are like, you know what? I really don't want to go into a small enclosed space with random strangers who may or may not practice, all the best medical safety tips for themselves, never mind for others.
But anyway, if you guys got time, look up Crunchyroll and the Hollywood Reporter in the last few days. Very interesting read. Speaking of reads, Neff, what is on your manga list lately that you have attacked?
Okay, let's see. Now, again, Manga Up, the service, has basically, stolen my time because they keep putting out titles that I want to read, and some of them are just absolute brilliance. Others, it's like this is the literal equivalent of bubblegum. It has no substance. It has flavor that, is there and gone, but it's fun. I mean, one of those titles, I was called Worthless at Home, but I was actually really powerful. Basically about a guy who was raised by 5 sisters who are, the best in their fields. We have the warrior, we have the mage, etc. And they've all, drilled into him, sometimes literally, their skills, but they still protect him as if, he's 5 years old. He eventually rebels against that and says, no, I'm going out into the world, which of course they all freak out about. But he manages to slip away and for a time, has adventures, but is so overpowered compared to everybody else, but doesn't realize it because he's been hanging around these sisters who basically, are these overpowered, folk. And so it's like they're all looking at him going, but then the sisters come calling to try and drag him back home. One's failed. The other one's in the process of failing. And I think the other 3 are going to be like, no, we're not. No, this is not going to work. We're going to at least, we'll keep an eye on him, but we won't try to drag him back home. At least I hope so, because if they keep doing this again, it's like, no, you're just going to be, no. And then there's one.
Go ahead.
And then there's one series where the manga has spawned the anime. The anime is just about finished. I think it's first season. Whether it gets another, I don't know. Dealing with the Mikadono sisters is a breeze. This is similar, where it's like 3 high school prodigies. One is an actress, one is a kendoka, the other is a shogi master.
Okay? Shogi, wow.
Yeah. So the 3 of the sisters live together in a giant house, and along comes this kid who was the son of a famous actress who passed away. Okay. And he's like 17, they're like 17. So essentially, a friend of the deceased actress finds out and says, look, go live with my daughters. Now, that sounds weird when you think about it.
Yes.
And he says to help my daughters grow, and become, better at their crafts.
Yeah.
And there is a part of me that goes, that is the most bizarre premise imaginable. And yet it kind of works because the kid is a complete, he's a complete loser. He can't do anything right. About the only thing he can do is house husband duties. Like literally, he can cook, he can clean, Now, not to say he's perfect at those, because, there are scenes with his fingers looking like, he went through a slasher flick and was the victim. But, they sort of grow together, and all he really wants is a family, because he'd been estranged from his mother for years because she was off doing her acting thing and never really spent time with him. So he never really had a sense of family and what that is. Right? Now, the manga is being released domestically by Viz, finally.
Okay.
I had been reading it on the high seas, but eventually now Viz has said, okay, we've got the license now, so we're going to release it on our platform. And so I've been reading it there, and it's like, okay, this is getting really interesting now. Because now each of the girls in their own way has started to, develop feelings for the guy. But of course, he's as thick as a brick. He does not understand it. The typical, male MC manga. It's like, okay,
no idea what's going on.
If you were any denser, you'd be lead. Okay, just do. But such is life. Yeah. So that's another one of those where, yeah, again, it's bubblegum, but it's fun bubblegum.
Typical slice of life stuff in manga, huh?
Perfect explanation. Perfect description.
So let's move on to some other topics that are dear to our hearts. Your Blue Jays. Okay.
Before I went on vacation, they were, I think, 5 games up in the division and neck and neck with the Tigers for the first round bye in the playoffs. Now the Tigers have fallen apart. The Jays are in the midst of falling apart. They got a playoff spot, mind you, but they've gone from, oh, we've got the first round bye sewn up to, we at least have a wild card. We can't guarantee ourselves anything more unless we get up off the mat. And as we speak, Boston is tearing them a new exit hole. They're up 4-0 on Toronto, top of 7.
Yeah, I think the Mets are in the same spot Mets are in the same spot as the wild card too right now, aren't they?
No, I think they're actually 1 out now.
Oh, the 1 out? Okay.
Yeah. The problem with the Mets is they have those flashes of brilliance, and then you watch some of their games, and it's like, does anybody here know how to play this game?
Like Little League ball.
Worse. This is Little League ball where they're toddlers and they're putting the ball in their mouth, as opposed to throwing the thing or batting, etc. It's like, whoa.
Okay, so then that would be backyard baseball.
Pretty much. Watching the New York Mets is like watching the New York Giants, which is like watching the New York Jets. Yikes.
So if you're playing, if we still can figure it out, maybe we can play one of those backyard games. They have backyard baseball, and now they've just released backyard football.
Oh dear. So one of us can cosplay as Daniel Jones, or as he's now known in Indianapolis, Indiana Jones, because he's managed to take the Colts, and make them respectable.
Yeah.
Which begs the question: was it New York the problem, or was it Danny Derps the problem?
Yeah.
As far as I can tell right now, I think it was New York Giants that were the problem.
And they're still the problem if you look at how they're playing.
Yeah, and guess what? Russell Wilson, he's been benched. It's like, the Russell Wilson experiment has apparently blown up.
Oh man, I mean, he was one of the top stars, and I wonder what happened.
A couple things: age, injuries,
and
the fact that the O-line, on the teams gets older, can't protect him, and the injuries pile up, etc., etc., etc.
So, yes, football is in high season, if they will. Yeah.
Speaking of football, I don't know if you've seen this yet, but CFL commissioner came out the other day with a whack of changes to the game, some of which I have no problem with. Others I'm going, what are you trying to do? The NFL with a Canadian accent? No.
Oh, boy.
In fact, I wouldn't be surprised after the crap storm that's already started that he's going to say, yeah, maybe we should back off a bit, because the worst of this, they didn't even talk to the Players Association before they said, okay, we're going to do all this stuff. And I'm like going, you don't talk to the players.
Yeah.
The key part of your product, you don't. And this is why I say, I've watched good CFL commissioners. I've watched bad ones, but lately it seems they hire people who know nothing about the game. It's about making money. And the problem is, I understand you need to make money. But when it comes to a product that people want to watch, that people want to spend money on, that people want to go to, you don't try to turn it into American football in the spring. That's not going to fly, especially not now. of all the times to do what you're doing and the way you're doing it, now is not the time to even try.
I was just blowing through some of these changes reported on the CBC, and your point taken exactly. In 2 years, a staple of Canadian football is going away. No more 110-yard fields.
Yeah, and I'm going, what is the point of that?
Yeah.
Like I say, and then the changes to the Rouge, which again, I understand to a degree, but on the other hand, I'm like, you should get at least something for getting into the end zone.
Right.
I don't know. I mean, it's the Canadian way. We give you something. We may not give you everything you want, but we give you something.
The CFL commissioner says we hope there will be more touchdowns. Okay, well, let's see.
Well, I don't know about this. I mean, the one thing I agree with is moving the goalposts back, and getting them out of the field of play, because unfortunately I have seen way too many injuries and serious ones where players are not intentionally but get driven into the post and suffer serious injuries. So I'm like, yeah, I can see that. This one I'm gonna fine. But some of these other changes, I'm just going, again, what are you doing? And you didn't talk to the Players Association before you even thought of this. Like, just no.
So no more rouges on errant kicks, apparently, unless it gets downed.
Yeah. And again, I'm like, who's complaining? I know who's complaining about the Rouge, giving a point when you miss a field goal. I know who's doing it. Every team that's ever been gotten by that point, at the end of a game, is screaming about this, going, get rid of it. It's not fair. To which I reply, life is not fair, because if life was fair, whatever. But just no. Okay, fine. But it's like, I don't even know. I mean, I actually went as far as to sign a petition about this.
Right.
And I would never think, but the way this was done, and I said that in my comments, I said, look, you didn't even talk to the Players Association. No, you don't do that. They are your stars. They are your reason for your existence, for you having a job.
Right.
And you treat them like that. Just,
Jeez, that's just, this is, they're not, they quote unquote do not want to be the same as American football, but I'm looking at these changes and they're like, yeah, the only thing that's going to stay different is the fact that your fields are wider.
Yeah. And I mean, we used to be a league that was proud that our balls were bigger. I don't know if folks out there get the reference, but at one point in time, the CFL football was in fact larger than an NFL standard football.
Right.
And at one point, the Canadian Football League did take advantage of that with an ad campaign that said, literally, our balls are bigger. Insert the giggling of, Neff, the 6-year-old, going, ha ha.
Har har.
But I thought it was catchy. So hey, what can I say?
Oh boy. Well, I'm gonna read more into this when we're off the air, because I'm morbidly curious about how all the mechanics, and apparently, so this is gonna be they're gonna make these changes over a course of 2 seasons.
Yeah, that's they call it a phased-in approach. I'm going, this commissioner may not last the 2 years.
Exactly.
The firestorm is going to be so much that he might say, you know what? Oops, I'm going to pull the chute and bye.
Yeah.
Because that's what tends to happen with CFL commissioners. Once the heat goes on, they go, I don't like my buns burning. I'm out.
Flax, aka Golden Belt Otaku, asking you if you want to be the new commissioner of the CFL, and if so, what would you do? That'll be my addition to the question.
Well, I'll say this. I certainly would not have done this the way the commissioner would have done it, which is to just impose it and say, here it is.
Right.
This would have been, okay, let me talk to the Players Association. Let me see what they think. Let me see. They may even have suggestions that I haven't thought of, or that the owners haven't thought of. to make the game
Right.
better. Because again, you have to understand, when you rely on a group to perform, you should really listen to the performers because they know. Now, to be fair, there are sports leagues whose players' unions do not always have the best interests of their own members at heart. I will refer specifically to the NHLPA, who continue to fight every time one of their own members tries to decapitate another member, saying, "Oh, it wasn't that bad." And I every time that happens, I find myself going, "Do you realize what you look like when you say, 'Oh, player A hits player B over the head with a stick. It's not that bad. Don't suspend him for 10 games.'"
Mm-hmm.
You're basically telling all the other players, C through Z, that, okay, it's fine to whack another player over the head with a stick because nothing's going to happen because you'll fight for them to let them do this. So getting back to the CFL Players Association, generally speaking, from what I can tell, the membership understands that, yes, we have to work to keep ourselves healthy because a playing career in the CFL isn't that long. You don't have, like the Tom Brady's that last years and years and years and decades. I think the average CFL career, I might even be overestimating, somewhere around 5 years. So you want to go in at least reasonably healthy when you come out again.
Exactly.
So any changes that are made should reflect that.
All right. So, yeah.
So now I'm going to get off my soapbox before I trip over myself.
It's all good, but we have a question from the gallery. How are your Leafs looking?
I've watched a couple of preseason games. I've seen good things, I've seen bad things, but right now the roster is so expanded that I can't say anything for sure. One thing I will say, however, will be I'm curious to see how our number one goaltender, Anthony Stolarz, comes back from, getting whacked by that Sam Bennett, during the playoffs, when we were up 2-0 on Florida, and then he whacks, Mr. Stolarz, and the Leafs go to the eventual Stanley Cup champions, yes, but still, had that not happened, they might not have made it to the Stanley Cup Finals. Florida, they might have been stopped right there.
Yeah. Well, hockey is right around the corner, I tell you. So we'll look to see how that goes.
October 7th.
Well,
and the problem, the funny part is,
sooner than I thought.
Yeah, October 7th, and the opening night schedule, it's all American teams.
Oh,
which is like, okay, I understand the NHL wants to grow the game in the U.S., wants to use the, but no. Okay, fine. Just remember, Gary Bettman is not eternal. So I thought.
The good old hockey game.
Yeah. Actually, we did lose a couple of very notable hockey players over this past summer. One of which, Ken Dryden, who not only had a fantastic career as a goalie for the Montreal Canadiens, as much as that pains me, had a very fulfilling career, post-hockey career, as both an author and a politician. And, did a lot of good things. And, my condolences to his family because he was a fixture in Canadian history. And I think it is something to note. And folks like him, they're very rare and should be celebrated. We also lost another goaltender recently, Bernie Parent. Now, his path wasn't quite as meritorious as, Ken Dryden's, but he still was, in his own way, a trailblazer and a very good goaltender, one you would, in his era, would want on your team. And again, seeing the modern goaltenders and now with the passing of some of the ones that I had seen as a youngster, it's really strange how the game has evolved.
Right.
And it's changed to the point where the goaltender is very important, yes, but
Mhm.
also there's this whole thing about nutrition, there's other things that they didn't think about back then. Like,
Yeah.
you know, some of these goaltenders would literally go out for a smoke between periods. I don't think you'll see, you know, Anthony Stolars go outside the Scotiabank Arena and go puff.
I saw sometimes on my YouTube, I get these old episodes of What's My Line, and I saw an episode not too long ago where one of the guests was one of the star goalies of the Montreal Canadiens at that time.
Okay, so if it wasn't Ken Dryden, when you say star goaltender, who specifically would you be referring to?
I'm trying to find that out. Yeah. Let's see.
Well, while you're doing that, I'll also note that a very storied Montreal goaltender is now, on paper anyway, playing for the San Jose Sharks. Gary Price got his contract traded to the San Jose Sharks.
Interesting.
Well, it's a money move for San Jose to get up to the cap floor, and for Montreal to, you know, have a bit more cap room for themselves. You know, a bit of cap shenanigans, as they call it.
Right.
And I do believe one of our players just got tossed from the game. Oh, lovely.
Jacques Plante,
yes. He is very famous for a very important piece of goalie equipment.
The mask?
Which one? Bingo. You know, and to me, seeing the old films of goaltenders without masks, I'm going, you're having vulcanized rubber flung at your face. You must be insane if you're doing it without a mask. Wow.
One of the innovators for sure. And so we've come to the end, Neff, and that means we have to do our very special announcement. And the announcement ties into the storied history of Extreme Anime Radio, which in February will turn 25 years old.
Pardon me while I, you know, realize that time has passed and going, yikes.
So to help our 25th anniversary, that's sort of one of the reasons we actually put Sarah and Umemi up there in the new logos for you. But also, we remember the times where we had interviews here on XAR over the large amount of time. And we're going to embark on a new chapter of interviews with you guys, hopefully next week. Because next week, we are going to bring you... Dun-ta-da! MysticWhiteDragon, that tall guy in the middle of the photo from Japan. He's tall, Neff.
I was going to say, looking at him and the others, it's like, God, like they need two of them to basically equal him.
And he is with Bless 4, Japanese vocal ensemble, grew up in the United States, I believe, and they are involved in various projects. You have Kanasa Akashi and Akino. And Akino is very popular because if you remember, Akino was involved in solo debuts in, I believe, 2005. If you remember Genesis of Aquarian, Neff.
Yes.
So Akino is the one responsible for Genesis of Aquarian and Go Tight, which are the theme songs for that anime series.
Oh, wow. That's neat.
So he's Mystic has connected with these guys during his time while he is living in Japan. And you remember he was involved with us for a while as well. And he did an interview with Bless 4, the whole group. And we're going to hopefully bring it to you next week here on XAR. So the schedule This is subject to change, but this is the schedule as we have it right now. Twitch release will be next Tuesday at 8 p.m. Eastern, which is 9 a.m. Japan time the following day. And then the following day, we will release it on YouTube. And then the following day, it goes to Spotify and audio podcast. It's about a 30-minute show, pre-recorded. So next Tuesday, we'll do that podcast at 8 p.m. Eastern. We will then come back on live at 8:30 p.m. Eastern to do some usual antics with the XAR gang. The YouTube release comes the following evening late at night because we have to wait 24 hours after the Twitch release to release on YouTube. And then Spotify audio podcast release will happen during the day, October the 2nd, depending on when Spotify and the audio podcasting realm decides to get the broadcast out on the air. But yes, it's going to be very exciting for us to have interviews back here on XARNF. And you remember the times you've done interviews during Anime North and whatnot, right?
I was going to say that brings back so many memories. And the fact that we mentioned Anime North, next year will mark 30 years of Anime North.
Ooh.
So we're going to be hopefully doing something a little bit special for that because, especially the charity auction, we want to try and, raise a lot of money again. And we hope to get some stuff that will really, draw in the bidders and separate the bidders from their money. Thank you very much.
Collins is asking about my collection in the back. I was lazy because I was setting up for the podcast tonight. I did not activate my green screen, if you will, so I kind of decorated a little bit. We have a little a Kagamina over here. I don't know if you can see Anya here over my shoulder. There's a Sailor Mercury, and there is Sugar Plumps for when we played the game with Sugar Plumps, which names Inferno. Something Inferno?
Drawing a blank, I'm afraid.
Little Inferno, I think. Little Inferno.
Okay.
That's the one with Sugar Plumps, and that's the one where that was the crowdsourcing for the Sugar Plumps doll. So that's why that's there. Sailor Mercury. Let's look over here. That's the Glitter Glamour Bandai doll that is still in its case.
Very nice.
So I have a lot of things. I'm pulling a Neff who likes to keep things in the cases and the boxes for the most part.
Well, yeah, because in some cases I have some very interesting items that I don't want to, risk damaging. One of the items, I don't know if I mentioned this on air. I got a call from the head of programming who oversees the charity auction and says, did you not know that there was a Fern from Freyren doll for you signed by the director of that series?
Oh.
Cue me going, huh? What? And they said, yeah. And you didn't take it? I'm like, we didn't even know it existed. Nobody told us.
Yeah.
So cue the sigh on the other end, and they're like, oh, we got to tell them something. I said, okay, no. I'll buy it. So they said, how much? Literally, they said $100. I said, no, $200. Make them happy. Because I want the director to say, okay, I got $200 for literally signing the figure. And the problem is the figure has to stay in its case because he signed it in ink. Like in marker, on a white dress, because the character's wearing a white dress, and I'm going, yeah, no. If I took that out of no, that would smudge. No. So it's sitting in my in my den of depravity, and it's like, oh, that's a nice figure.
Wow. But and it's almost time of the year to pull out the Reaper Saryumemi dolls. I think they're sitting in my living room, Liz. So yes, if I decide next time to change up my background here, I will. I'll go ahead and include them for you. Okay, that's a promise. So.
Oh yes, it's that time of year again.
3 favorite months of the year: October, November, December. I always say it.
Yes, well, it just reminds me that, oh, yeah, and I have to think about getting my tires and rims switched over.
Let's go over the closing commentary.
If you have any questions, concerns, compliments, or complaints about this podcast or of our Twitch streams, drop us a line. You can do it the old-fashioned way at extremeanimeradio@gmail.com or hit us up on social media. Go to linktree.com/anime radio. There you'll find links to our Blue Sky account, our Discord server, our Instagram accounts for Extreme Anime Radio, and for our mascots, XARmascots.com, our Facebook page, and our YouTube channel at Extreme Anime Radio. And archive versions of this podcast are available at XARpodcast.net or your favorite podcasting platform.
So, we will probably, like I said, next week we'll probably air, we'll more than likely air the podcast with Mystic and Bless 4. And then we'll continue with our usual game streams this week and next week. Then we go on another hiatus, probably until late October. And at that point, we're going to start up on the visual novels that we all enjoy, where we try to solve cases, sometimes in a strange atmosphere and sometimes in an atmosphere of mages and sorcery.
And sometimes with legal conundrums that are so conundruming, it makes my legally trained brain go pop.
Take that, Neff. So, on
Objection.
that note, this has been the season 12 premiere of the XAR podcast. We're going to be playing a game here in a few minutes. But for the podcast, we hope you enjoy the upcoming season in the coming months. For Neff, I'm JR. This has been the XAR podcast. Until next time, remember,
keep on looking up the Extreme Radio Podcasts, and don't forget archive versions of our Twitch streams. Let me turn that around. So keep on looking for our Twitch streams, and don't forget about our archive versions of our podcast, which are available at xarpodcast.net or your favorite podcasting platform. Good night, everybody.
You made it to the end. Good night, everybody. See you next time.
We are Extreme Anime Radio. The Nero Band Station.
Extreme Anime Radio.